Hello and welcome to another edition of Banana Island Living Podcast. I'm especially thrilled to be speaking to somebody today, and I'll let him introduce himself in a minute. But first, before you do anything else, can you just press the click button to subscribe and share with your friends? So, hi, are you going to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you very much, Shelly.
Yeah.
My name is Onwuanibe. I'm the founder and group chief executive of Landmark Africa.
Now, I hate to be boring and read out his bio to you, but I'll just say one or two things. Okay. Paul started his career in architecture, yeah?
That's right.
Yeah, and you did an MBA at LBS.
I did.
Oh, God. Okay.
I did. A few things in between.
In between. I think they like you to do the MBA after you've had a few years of experience.
Yes. I made the mistake of not doing that, by the way.
Yes. Well, you went straight into the MBA?
I did back-to-back education. So 6 years of architecture.
That's Naija for you.
That's Naija. Yeah. 6 years of education. And then I did a master's in construction management.
Gosh.
Then I did another one in project management. And then I did my MBA. I was quite young when I did my MBA. When I finished my MBA, I lectured at London Business School for 18 months. Yeah.
Gosh.
To pay the school fees.
Indentured.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Then I started working properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did you find it difficult to get a job in the UK? But you had so many strings to your bow by that time and so many sort of letters after your name.
Yeah, I think I was relatively lucky. So my first job was an architecture job.
Okay.
And I met this guy who was the president of the Royal Institute of British Architects at the time.
Wow, Reba.
Yeah, Reba,
oh,
yes.
Wow.
And his name was Anthony Barber. And that's how I got the job. I met him and he says, look, I'll employ you, paid me peanuts. And, but I worked there for 3 years to get my own, Reba. Yeah. So that was good fun.
So was he sort of like a mentor?
He was certainly one of my early day mentors, but he was my mentor in architecture.
Yeah.
It took me 3 years of working in an architectural practice to realize I didn't want to do this for the rest of my life. So, but I was focused on getting my RMBA.
Yeah, well, you've done all the work because that's a slog.
That's a slog, and that's when I developed my interest in construction and properties and stuff. And I've only had 3 jobs in my life, by the way. So it's
okay. We're going to start with was the first one at Beacon?
No, the first one was the architecture job.
Oh, right. Okay. Then yes. Beacon was the second one.
Beacon was the second.
And then would you say Regis was your big break?
Yes. So Beacon was a big break because I went in there as a development officer and I left as the development director, the head of developments. And we were working in one local authority area at the time when I went.
So it's a housing association?
It was effectively a housing association, stroke property development company. Yeah. We worked in just one local authority initially. Yeah. But during my time there, we spread to about 18 different local authorities and I met a lot of people. Yeah. I learned a lot about.
And Nigerian people skills,
Yeah, absolutely. It always helps.
I tell everybody that if you have that Nigerian people skills and that shangri, then you put it with the education. The sky's the limit.
No, absolutely. You could never go wrong.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think, if there were 3 things that I think help propel Nigerians is one is the Nigerian people skills, just that tough breeding and upbringing and meeting different people of different types. 2 is that just desire to do well.
Yes.
Right?
I can't go back for failure.
I know. I can't. I won't let anybody call me failure. So that desire is an Olympic mindset and, Nigerians are born with it.
Someone calls it the fire in the belly.
Yes. And then the third is, it's just for those of, I was about to say those of us, but I'll be arrogant. Those people who want to be good. Yeah. Being good is a currency in the world, not just Nigeria. And there's very little competition.
Well, I think, as someone said, your Nigerian parent would say, "Hey, the person who came first, do they have 2 heads?" What was you came with a B. So I didn't pay all that school fees for you to come back with a B.
I remember listening to someone do a victory speech. And he said, he came back with a 98% score. And his father asked him, "Where's the remaining 2%?"
It's a bit like the tiger moms and everything. But I think that coming from a developing country, you just have that. I can't afford to mess up. I've got to go for it.
And it does so many things for you. So that's the first thing. And, in your midlife, it does a lot more as well because, you then, if you come back to practice in that developing country, you have the opportunity to set market trends, to make markets, to, set consumer preferences. There's just so many things that you couldn't do in the first world, as they say, that you can do here. And it just gives you so much more satisfaction.
And that's a nice segue into my question, which was that, do you think setting up in Lagos gave you more of attraction starting in Lagos? Or did you start in Lagos? I mean,
No, I didn't. No, I started in London. And,
the plot thickens.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
No,
talk to me.
Started in London as far back as 1997. So it's 25
What did you do there?
Serviced offices. When I finished Regis, I thought...
Oh, so you set up your own
I set up my own. I set up Landmark, yeah. And, it was tough because the first bit of money I got was from my former boss. So he gave me £500,000.
Wow.
Yeah, which is a lot of money then. And
he must have really believed in you.
Yeah, but I worked hard at Regis. Yeah. And when I joined Regis, it was a €200,000 company.
Is that all?
When I left, it was a $1.4 billion company.
Gosh.
I worked in 69 countries for Regis, traveled early mornings.
You paid your dues.
Paid my dues. Missed the birth of both my children,
Oh, wow. That is a cost.
So I paid my dues, but it was fun and I learned a lot. So, the importance of sacrifice is important.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And it's hard to appreciate that when you're young. I didn't.
And delayed gratification?
Very delayed gratification, by the way. Extremely
very delayed.
Still waiting.
Right. Talk to me.
Yeah, still
I
waiting.
believe you.
But what does change? And I'm sure you notice, when I was younger, I wanted to be rich and
Don't we all?
Yeah. Gratification was about money and the things I could do with money.
Yeah.
But as you get older, you realize that money is not actually that important. It's how you impact people and how you impact things. And
it also gives you choices.
Yes, true. But there are many people, and I was having this conversation literally less than half an hour ago, that the people who have changed the world the most are not rich. I think rich people have the opportunity to, but very few actually do it. Some do, but very few actually do it intentionally.
Yeah.
Most of the people who have changed the world the most are not rich in money. They're just rich in spirit.
Well, like the guy who did the internet, who started the internet.
Yes.
Nobody really talks about it.
No,
it's the guys who leveraged what he did.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'll think about that. I'm not going to start anything new then.
No,
I'll leverage what somebody else has done. I ride on their coattails. I'm not proud.
I know.
Why should I?
Absolutely.
I'll stick with the rich bit.
As I say, never reinvent the wheel.
No, I'm not bothered. I'll stick with the rich part. So how did you fund it apart from the 500,000? Because that couldn't have been enough, would it?
No, it wasn't enough. And, a series of mistakes. So, I got bank loans. So HSBC gave me my first loan.
Without collateral?
Without collateral, yeah.
Gosh.
So then it was in the UK. So I linked into a business lending platform.
Okay.
And HSBC, there were more or less exams, if you like, presentations, and they selected a few people. I got lucky to be selected. I had my former boss who believed in me and who was generous. And they say friends, families, fools, and angels.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
FFFA, right? So got a lot of that from people.
But they believed in you.
They did. Some believed in me, some believed in the business, and some just thought, look, let me get Paul off my back and give him something, right? And, it doesn't really matter why someone gives you, it's what you do with it.
Yeah.
And how you...
But I think somebody starting out for the first time, it's you they're investing in, really.
No, absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. Everybody has
forget the fantastic idea. They look at you and they say, this guy will not, if he lets me down, it won't be through lack of effort.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yes. Or just bad luck.
Or government.
Wrong market, wrong place, wrong time. Yeah. So started in London, worked throughout Europe, opened offices in places like Prague, Madrid, Frankfurt. Actually went to New York.
Gosh.
I have a long story about New York because we were in the World Trade Center when
you weren't.
When it was blown up. Yeah. So, have some big experiences.
Did you do Thanksgiving in your church and you were rolling on the
I know. I mean, it was quite a hectic time then.
Gosh.
Told the story quite a few times, but I hate to remember it because we lost. I had 7 employees and I lost 5 of them. Yeah.
And where were you on that day?
We were on the 87th floor of the second tower, and the building hit the second tower, the 78th floor. So everybody upstairs died. I was in the lift lobby on my way up when the first plane hit the first building.
So you legged it?
Yeah, so I went out to see what happened. I thought I didn't realize nobody realized the plane hit.
Yes.
So I was waiting for the elevator doors to open when I heard the impact. So you're curious when there's something strange. So I went back outside, crossed. Was it West Highway? Crossed the road to see what was going. Saw some smoke. Was about to cross back when the second plane came. Right. I remember seeing this guy in front of the church. So the church there next to the Millennium Hilton, and he was drinking alcohol in a brown bag. This was quite early in the morning. I think it was around 9 a.m. or 8:45 or something. And I asked him what happened. He said, a plane hit the building. I thought, I'm drunk. I saw the smoke because it hit at an angle we couldn't see from where we were. And I started crossing the road and to see the second plane come in. And I thought,
that's surreal.
Yeah, it's surreal. surreal.
Did you have some therapy or what after?
No, they lined us up to have therapy.
Yeah.
So
Naija said no.
so I'm mentally strong.
Did you know?
Yeah, no.
We survived Nigeria. I can
I can survive anything. Yeah.
Swear.
So my family, obviously, we lived in London, and the phone lines all cut off that time and stuff. And my wife knew we had our office there. So when the plane hit the building, and I didn't speak to my family for a day and a half. So they probably thought I had gone.
They needed therapy.
Yeah, they needed more therapy than me. But you know what they say? The delights of winning is probably more impactful than the pains of losing.
Yeah.
So it's
you sort of.
If you think someone has died and you see the person alive, you're sort of happier than
you forget the trauma.
Yeah. It's like winning a football match. You're happier when you win it. Then you're more happy than more sad when you lose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gosh. But you left Regis. You went through this. Did you have a non-compete clause with Regis?
Not really. I did.
How did they?
Yeah, no. That? So I did in a way, but I didn't do exactly what Regis did.
Right.
So the reason why we did this, I thought to myself, I wanted to create a space that Regis was not operating in.
Right.
So Regis
operated. They were a service office,
but with big businesses, right, around the world. So I thought there were
the big boys.
Yes, and I wanted to be a consultant at the time. I wanted to be a business property consultant.
Right.
And I actually, when I left Regis, or when I was going to leave Regis, I was trying to set up a business consultancy to advise people on property.
Yes.
Right. But I lived in London, and I couldn't find a platform. I couldn't find an office because nobody wanted to rent an office to me. I had no collateral. I had no name. I was probably the wrong color as well.
You could have used Regis.
I could have used Regis. But I wanted to build a sort of an independent brand, right? It was hard to find clients. So, the issues of starting a business are not just about money, but it's about the things that will make the business take it into longevity. And I found them extremely hard.
And I thought to myself,
I thought to myself, if I had this problem, everybody else does. So that's the market I wanted to solve. So I said, well, you know what? Let me create an image profile for small businesses, right? So create a Mayfair business address, get them a proper secretary PA, create a whole telephone answering system, create sort of the legal and accounting frameworks for small businesses to work. So that's what I wanted. It was a small business center, and I called it a virtual office rather than a serviced office.
Yes, because the virtual offices took off much later.
Yes. So
then they'd have that virtual PA and answering service. I used one before.
All right. Oh, there you are. So dare I say we're pioneers in that. Yeah. So I opened this in 7 different European countries.
That was way ahead of your.
Yeah. So it was good fun. But we had a bloody nose in quite a few of these places, right?
Why do you think that was?
Europe is very developed, and whatever you do, you have competition. You have people who started more before you. You have people with more experience.
Better networks,
more money, and the right face, right? So you're competing with so many different things at so many different levels, no matter how good you think you are. I remember times in my office in London, I'm sitting at reception. So I did all the jobs from telephone answering to reception, to making the tea, to the strategy, to the finances. And I was sitting at reception, and this couple walk in, fairly elderly couple, obviously well-to-do. And they wanted to know about the offices because they were trying to set up an office for their son. And
as one does for their son.
For their children, right? I hope my son's not listening to this. Well, he says, Dad, come here. You need to help me. Right?
I need that leg up.
I know. So went through the whole thing, and just before signing the papers, they said to me, look, I shouldn't take offense, but I'd like to speak to my boss, right? To negotiate this thing properly, to get the final numbers. And I said, oh, very fair enough. That's all right. I don't, no offense taken. So I called my secretary from the back office, introduce her as my boss, and say, please go ahead. She closed that deal, and that deal was life changing because these guys opened so many different offices with us, and the company that they opened for their son grew tremendously. I was later to understand who this guy was, right? And
who was he? I don't know. I may go with a begging bowl.
So there's a guy called Lord Derek Harvey Gold, right? And he was an industrialist at the time, but he'd moved to America, and he'd worked
Gold, his name is...
Yes, he worked in a lot of oil, and he was an industrialist, and I think they were the largest investors in Tata Lyle. Sugar, which was a family business at the time. Anyway, so it gave us a lot of legs that, I couldn't even estimate, but, we're talking 25 years ago, but I would say that business probably grossed us the best part of 2 to 3 million pounds, which was probably more than 50% of our turnover.
When did they find out you were the boss?
At a function we had.
Oh, God.
as a function we had. And, it was fun, and we laughed about it and stuff. And really lovely couple, and God bless the man's soul. Now he's passed away, but I kept in touch with the children for a long time, and so that was fun. Fast forward 5 years later, I had a good friend comes to London. His wife is out shopping. He comes to my office with me. Staying in an apartment close to my apartment, and he says, "You know what? This thing you're doing, you should do it in Africa." And I said, "Look, you should do it in Nigeria." I said, "Look, I don't really want a Nigerian business. I like an African
The Wahala is plenty.
Yeah. But, I visited Nigeria, and I thought, why not? And so in 2004, decided to make that leap. But because I didn't want a Nigerian business, I decided we wanted to open in all parts of Africa at the same time. So we opened more or less simultaneously, in Lagos for West Africa, Nairobi for East Africa, Johannesburg for South.
That was bold.
Cairo for North. Yeah, but, you have to roll the dice.
Well, I know, but the amount of just sheer logistics involved.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was fun. I remember I was used to traveling. I learned a lot as Regis.
You had a good network.
I had an extremely great network. If I say so myself, I like people, right? And I like meeting new people and new places and stuff. So I was fairly comfortable with it. It was finding the people who would take that journey, who would do that journey with me. So we did that. And
did you have partners in Nigeria, or you just went on?
Yes, had partners everywhere. So I believe strongly in partnerships. Yeah. The only risk of a partnership is the wrong partner.
Well, that's the thing. That is it.
Yeah.
And that could be catastrophic.
It's not just catastrophic, it's a death sentence. It
is a death sentence. It's like a marriage.
No, absolutely. It's like a marriage. But the right partner is the exact opposite as well. Yeah. So,
you've been lucky with your partners.
No,
I was just going to say that. I don't know which place you find your partners from. Talk to me, because not all of us have been lucky with partners.
No, we've had the good, the bad, and the ugly. So one thing I realized, everywhere we had a good partner, it did well. Everywhere we had a bad partner, it did badly, and everywhere we had an ugly partner, it was mayhem, right? But
but you're still standing.
Well, you learn to cut your losses early, right? So you cut your losses, you rewind.
Don't sweat it.
Don't sweat it too much. You move on. The same thing with team. Right? Yeah. When you employ people or you work with people, you have the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Somebody bring in bad energy, let them go quick.
No, absolutely. And there's very few people who will tell you that they're bad.
No, right? Of course not.
So everybody thinks they're good. Yeah. But you make your mistakes. And, we've made many.
Haven't we all? I sit here as a walking mistake. So do you think, and I ask this with every entrepreneur I've spoken to, are your children going to take over or be involved?
No, not at all. So it's not the sort of
succession planning is somebody of our age. That's a question everybody's asking.
No, so it's huge. So like my parents were diplomats, and my dad was a diplomat, and my mom was effectively more or less a journalist, a fashion journalist. Yeah. What they gave us was an education, an upbringing, a strict upbringing, by the way. I used to think of my
doesn't hurt.
No, I did then.
But I mean, it gave you in a core that you needed to rely on.
Absolutely. And then I used to think they were wicked. Yeah. Because I had friends that could do anything they liked at any time. Yeah. But when I had my own children, I saw myself doing the things to them that my parents were doing to me. God. And I thought every day, bastard, I don't want to be like my mom or my dad, right? With those things. But, the world changes and stuff. But I think what my parents gave us was exactly that. And, I was sent to boarding school in Nigeria.
Gosh.
My first visit to Nigeria
but that's good, though.
Was at the age of 10.
To boarding school, straight to boarding school.
Federal
the first thing they're going to catch you with is your accent.
Yeah.
They will so catch you.
Thankfully, with the unity schools there, so there were a few people who came from all over the place.
Yes.
And then Nigeria was really one Nigeria. We had people from all over the nation.
So you have a good network of friends from all over the country.
Gosh, a smashing network of friends.
Thank goodness.
Absolutely smashing. I've been to almost every state in the country.
Wow.
I mean, then there were 13 states.
Yeah.
Now there are 36, right? But I've been to all 13. I went to all 13 states at the time, which sort of more or less makes these 36 states. So it was fun.
So have you put your children through that same Nigerian experience?
Yes, to a large extent. So obviously my children were born, bred in the UK. Yeah. And I remember, a long time ago, it must be 15 odd years ago, just before Wembley Stadium was being rebuilt, Nigeria and England were playing the last game at Wembley. Oh, it was a football match. Yes. So I remember going with my kids and,
full colours.
Full colours, Nigerian colours, green, white, green, sat in Nigeria. We were very noisy in the stadium and stuff. And then at the time it was Alan Shearer, those of you.
Yeah.
He scored scored, and my children were jumping and they were
So
hearing.
was it?
No, green, white, green. So that was the moment the penny dropped, that they actually thought they were British.
Yes.
Right. And I thought to myself, we got to change this. So then we started, I stopped all our holidays abroad. All our holidays were African from there, not just Nigeria. So we did Nigeria.
Yeah.
My kids
Kenya.
even the non-ceremonious
Yeah.
countries, Gambia, Ghana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, South, we did 17 countries in Africa. And, when you think of conflict countries.
Yes. You've done those as well.
We did a few.
Oh,
so
wow.
there are not that many countries left, right? So they began to understand Africa. They began to understand South African culture. They began to see that they were black and not white. And then after their secondary school, I made them work in Nigeria for a year before going to uni.
Absolutely.
That's
so they've got that.
They've got a network and their friends, the friends that they met in England, and
a lot of them come on at Christmas and stuff.
So my children have come the last 4 Christmases.
Fantastic.
And they pay their own bills now.
Do you know?
They're mid-20s now.
Yeah, so it's a choice, right?
It's a choice. It's a choice. And they, the last time we had 28 people here, they've just finished leaving. So they bring their friends who've never been to Africa, their cousins. So it's a lot of fun, and they're very Nigeria-centric. I think my daughter was the chair of the Nigerian Association in London. That's how
you've cracked that.
I tell you, Shadi, and for the listeners who have never been abroad, that strive to be abroad, to japa as they say, right? There's nowhere like home. No. Absolutely nowhere. Nobody's saying don't have those experiences, right? But we call home not because it's where we live, but it's because where we're recognized, where we have the privilege of doing things without being judged in a certain way. So you don't want to be judged by the color of your skin or the way you talk.
Well, somebody said that it's where you can be your whole self.
Yes, absolutely. Without restraint. With absolute restraint. If you're going to achieve your potential, this is the only place you can do it.
I mean, I know people say that, it's because you're privileged, you're this, but I don't think it's just that. Yeah. So tell me, what's on your bucket list?
Wow.
Yes.
Interesting. 3 things.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to do 3?
Yeah.
So one is
in order of priority.
Oh gosh, in order of priority. Yes. Nobody's going to forgive me for this. So,
okay.
So I'm an Arsenal fan, right?
Well, they're coming up. There's
exactly.
Hope.
I think we're a great team, and if you're going to be
no, don't.
We
say
are
that.
A great team.
You're getting.
We're a great club.
Okay,
we're a great club.
Yeah,
and we've seen the good and the bad. We've seen the highs.
I
and
used
the
to be
lows.
an Arsenal fan.
Oh, you used to be. Wow,
used
you're
to
one
be.
of them.
I was such a fair weather. No, when Kano was there.
All right.
He's big. Yeah. He's black. He's had a heart attack.
Yeah. Oh, you know the song.
Yeah, I know. I've left.
So,
broken my heart.
So one of the things I like to do, I like to sit in the stadium in Arsenal in the Champions League finals and watch Arsenal win. And I've sat in the stadium in Champions League finals.
And they've lost.
And we've lost, right?
Many times.
So that's one. Yes. So on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah. Oh, you and Aliko. You and Aliko.
I mean, Aliko, yes, true.
Yes.
On the end of the spectrum, I would like to address the United Nations one day. Yes. And I'd like to address the United Nations about Africa, or more specifically about Nigeria.
Right.
So that's been on my bucket list.
What do you want to say to them?
Context.
Okay.
Context in the rest of the world, right? I'll speak about, social engineering.
Yeah.
I'll speak about wealth creation. And I'll speak about how the big nations undermine the small nations unknowingly.
Unknowingly or sometimes knowingly?
The unknowingly part.
Okay.
Well, knowingly is fine because at least you know you're doing it, right? So you can stop. But unknowingly, you can't stop.
Knowingly, I think is more dangerous because they gaslight you.
Yes.
They know what they're doing, but they're gaslighting.
Yes, but when someone comes through the front door, it's easier to deal with. So if African leaders...
If you recognize that they're coming through the front door.
So we have to have smarter leaders.
Yes, well, that's true. Yeah, okay.
Yes, and leaders that have the interests of the greater good at heart. And I think if you have that, you can neutralize those things, right? And it becomes a chess game.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult when you don't see it coming.
The insidious bit.
Yeah.
Okay. And the third one?
And the third one is sort of more personal. Yeah. I would like... I suppose this is a bucket list. I would like to go somewhere apart from Earth, and I'm not talking about dying.
Are you going to go?
I'm not talking about dying. Okay. I'm talking about Venus, Mars.
Yeah, you want to take one of those.
I want to take one of those shuttles.
Gosh, would you pay for it, or would you?
If I had the money, I'll pay for it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll do whatever I have to do.
I'll be checking your bank account regularly. I'm nudging you. Yeah, come on, Paul. Almost time to go.
So there are wealthy people out there that want to send someone to the moon. I'm a volunteer.
Aren't you a little bit scared? And that's your daring bit, I guess.
So, all my life I rolled the dice.
Yeah.
At least for half of my life, I rolled the dice every day.
Do you do sports, those sort of edgy sports?
No, but I've done them. So I belong to an organization called YPO, Young Presidents Organization.
Yeah.
And in the Young Presidents Organization, we have what we call forums. On these forums, there are 7-8 people.
Yeah.
We go on retreats. And these retreats, the idea is to do things you've never done before, right? So you get out of your comfort box. So I've entered, I've jumped out of planes, I've climbed mountains, I've abseiled down.
Which mountains do you climb?
Not climb, but abseil down.
Okay, abseil
Table
down.
Mountain,
Yeah.
Table Mountain.
Gosh, in South Africa.
Yeah, that was tough. I jumped off that Table Mountain.
That's character building.
Yeah. We've lived in some jungles.
I ain't doing.
We've done a few things that I would normally do.
I didn't come from Africa to come and do
I know. I remember one of my colleagues saying, "Look, if we die doing this, what will we tell our children?"
Do you know?
Yeah.
They were saying, "Na money do I? Na money do I?"
They say,
Who sent you?
I know. That's always the funny thing that people say. Well, that's the life of the idle rich.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing, right? But all it is just stretching yourself to do things that you haven't done before.
And I think that probably helps when you're taking risks in business.
Absolutely.
You face your fears.
Absolutely.
And go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, they say, if you can't write something worth reading, then do something worth writing about.
Right. Must use that sometime and pretend it's mine.
That's all right. I can tell you it's not original from me, but
okay, right.
I'm happy to present.
I'll borrow it. So on your business continuum, you have done the short term, medium, long term. Where are you on this continuum?
Yeah, interesting, So I started from the short-term offices and things. And the medium term, when we spread throughout Africa, we did that. And over that period of time, had a lot of international clients and, got to meet a lot of people across Africa. And now we're in the long term.
Okay.
So what we're trying to create here in Landmark is a destination, a business, leisure, and lifestyle destination.
And it's incredibly impressive.
Well, Euromoney says we're the fastest growing one in West Africa.
Oh, fantastic.
But the idea here really is to bring to this part of the world what is not here, not just from an infrastructure point of view, but from an experience and customer services point of view. So, our roots are in property development and really we're a property development company. But the unit economics of a property development company is square meterage. You rent space or you sell space, right? Our unit of economics is people. So what we're doing here, we're doing it for people. The more footfall, absolutely. Yeah. The more people who come, the more successful we are. But not just come. We need to make them do things here.
Spend money.
Spend money. So the longer they spend, the longer they stay, the more money they spend.
Right.
But most importantly, it's even not the spend of the money, and it's not how much they enjoy themselves, but it's having such a great time that they go and tell other people.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest reference. If you look around, we don't advertise. You don't see our billboards. We want people who've experienced what we do here to tell other people when they come. On average, we get 5,000 people here a day.
Gosh.
Right? If each person tells someone new,
then,
we'll become a very successful organization.
You will or you are? I think you'll be incredibly modest.
No, I'm not at all. I'm not a modest guy, by the way. This is a journey.
Yeah.
And if you were to ask me, I think we're 60% down the journey. I think we've made some major achievements.
Yeah.
We've built what I would like to believe is the first sort of business, leisure, and lifestyle company in this part of the world. And it's built in Africa by Africans. We don't have a single foreigner working with us.
Thank goodness.
And for Africans.
Yeah.
The idea is we want to serve our local
So you don't have foreigners in any of your in Africa, I mean?
No.
Okay. That's brilliant.
All Africans
That's
in Africa.
so cool. Yeah.
So that was the dream.
Yeah.
The dream continues. So we're 60, 70% there. We hope to be successful.
So are you thinking of retirement at any time at all?
So retirement comes in many ways. Retirement is, I suppose, my dad says it's the choice of fighting your own battles.
Yeah.
Right? So what I do today, 90% of what I do like. Right?
Okay.
90% of things I have to deal with.
So you want to reduce it to 10?
I want to reduce it to 10. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't
can
have
live
a choice.
with that. I can live with that.
Exactly. The people I have to deal with that I would rather not deal with. The stories I have to listen to, I'd rather not listen to. The speeches I have to give, I'd rather not give. But
I like to think this is part of the 10%.
This is definitely part of the 10%. These are the things I want to do.
That's fine. Okay.
My bucket list, remember, is talking in the United Nations.
Yes. So you can start with this small one. I'm not even going to mention the lion's den. We're like the mice of the lions. We're at this end of the spectrum. So you will do 10% of that's what you call retirement.
That's what I call retirement.
Would you divest?
Divest, when you say divest, from a financial point of view?
Yeah.
I'm very heavily divested anyway.
Okay. So
from a geographic point of view. The only thing I'm invested in is property and is landmark, but geographically, I think I'm divested.
That's good.
I have 2 working children and a lovely working wife. So even if I'm poor, they'll keep she has money.
In a style to which you're accustomed.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, who do you admire most?
Well, that's a tough one, right? So I would say 2 sportsmen.
Okay.
Pele, who unfortunately just died, may so rest in peace.
You look a bit like him.
Oh, nice.
I
nice
think
to hear.
so.
Oh. Well, I hope I can achieve as much as he did, right? In my field as he did in his field. And another Carl Lewis, the older people amongst ourselves who remember him.
Carl Lewis is a strange one.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he did 4 gold medals. 5?
Yes.
Right.
In one Olympics.
Yes. And then what happened to him?
Well, he did it 3 back-to-back Olympics, didn't he?
Yeah. And then you don't hear about him anymore.
No, and then, So, God knows why. But and the reasons why is, I just love the idea of the Olympic mindset.
Right.
I love the idea of people
working towards.
They underestimate the level of sacrifice that's required.
I think it's the sacrifice
mindset,
bit that people don't think about.
And against all the odds as well. So I said Pele because of what he achieved in football at a time when Black people were not recognized in the world.
From his background,
what he did around the world, and to create such an iconic remembrance of him must have been
and avoid usually
scandals.
Yes,
just
like brothers. So I don't know whether it's conspiracy or they always bring brothers down.
I know, absolutely.
But he seemed to have escaped that.
No, so he was loved everywhere he went. He did. You don't hear bad things. He did so much, and people underestimate that. Someone so young played in 4 World Cups.
I think it was 17.
17 when he started. Played in 4 World Cups. Won 3 of the World Cups he played in. Nobody else has done that. The only one he didn't win was he barely played in it. They kicked him out of the park in England, right? And unfortunately didn't win it. So I liked him for that pursuance of excellence with no restraint. Carl Lewis the same, is to achieve what he achieved. I remember him and he was a slow starter in his 100 meters. I saw to be focused and pursue excellence in such a short space of time, in a 1 month span of the Olympics, to do it 3 times and to win that many medals and have that much focus against all the odds as well.
What about Bolt?
Has to be great. So Bolt is different because, the world has changed.
Yeah.
Right. And, with all
there's more self-belief.
There's more self-belief. Yeah. The training methods are different.
Yes. Much more sophisticated.
People laid the path for Bolt before he came.
Yeah.
So,
you're right.
Blacks generally were expected to win these races.
Yeah. Jamaicans were expected to win.
Yes. And, the world is a lot more equal now than it was then.
Yeah.
Right? So everybody has similar resources to work from. So I'm not underestimating Bolt's achievements.
No. I totally get what you mean. Yeah.
But it's where
I get what you mean.
Muhammad Ali will be another one. Yeah.
He was just so witty.
Yeah, I know.
That
so
brain,
yeah.
Considering he had such small education, conventional education.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He was incredibly well spoken and good looking. What can I say? So if you weren't doing this, what would you like to do instead?
If you ask my mum, she would say I wanted to be a dustbin driver.
Well, that's a challenge.
Yeah, I know.
You could actually do that now.
I know.
You've got enough garbage to carry.
I know. You tell me about it, honestly. Yeah.
You've got enough to generate here.
And the idea was the old-fashioned dustbin driver that got sacks out of people's houses, had a chat with the people at home.
But that's what you see when you were growing up in England.
That's exactly.
You want to be a fireman. You want to be a dustbin driver.
You want to be a postman. You want to be the milkman. You want to,
That's the aspiration.
So I know.
So she quickly took you out of there, took you to Nigeria. Go and be a doctor. Go and be an architect.
Do some engineering.
Want to be a dustbin driver? Are you kidding me?
I know.
So you want to drive something?
No, I just like the idea of, just walking around people's houses, seeing people, talking to people, helping them.
You're just nosy.
And, throwing the bags into the back of the truck, jumping in the truck.
Have a bit of banter.
Yeah. So I like that. And seriously, today, if I wasn't doing this, what would I like to be doing? I don't know. I'd like to be, with hindsight, a business coach.
Okay.
I like to talk to people about.
But that's a bit of what you're doing in the Lion's Den, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is very much so. Very much. This is why I took it up. But when I was asked to do the Lion's Den, initially I said no.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'll have the time. I didn't think that I could literally just give that amount of time to do it. And I'm a very relatively private person. So very few people sort of know my face. They may have heard about Landmark and a few people maybe.
But then,
but I mean, I walk around here, people don't know me. I get fenced and
They're asking for your boss. They're asking for your boss.
Asking for my boss, right?
So it's not just the English they're doing.
Yeah, so I didn't want the exposure,
Yeah.
but more importantly, I just thought I didn't have the time.
Yeah.
But I thought about it and I said, look, if you really do want to change people's lives
And give back,
then you've got to do something like this. So I thought I will do it.
No, well done. Because I've seen some of the episodes where I think it's the constructive feedback that I value, because I've seen the Dragon's Den in England, and some of them just shoot people down, and it's unnecessary, especially when you're in a position of power.
Yes.
And it's an unequal relationship.
Yes.
Was the,
Yes.
but I like the way it's quite constructive. The Nigerian one, I think, is kinder.
It's a lot kinder, almost too kind sometimes.
Well,
and
yes, there is that.
It makes people come a little bit ill prepared, but I would say that never underestimate what it takes for a young person with an idea to come before national TV in this environment and display that idea and speak about it unaided for a period of time. So first of all, you have got to give them kudos, no matter what it is, right?
Yeah.
And then the second thing is they don't come with the background and experience you come with, so they're bound to make some mistakes. Some better prepared than others.
Yeah.
But they would never come with perfect things. But what I look out for is what you said at the very beginning of our conversation is the person. If this business is going to work, it's someone that's going to make it work. Yeah. Machines don't make it work. Good ideas don't make businesses.
ChatGPT might still do it. AI, who knows?
I know. Well, who knows,
who
right?
knows?
I just think people are so important to anything that we get right. So I look out for that. And the investments I made, I invested in people, not necessarily the ideas.
And have they sort of borne out?
Well, I did 7 investments.
Yeah.
One, I've lost my money, I think, right?
Okay, you think?
I think.
Well, you're still praying.
I'm still praying, right? One has been incredibly successful.
Oh, wow.
It's covered all the other 7.
Oh, brilliant.
Right? 3 of them, I think, would do extremely well. It requires patience. I think I've backed really good people.
Oh, excellent.
But they're tough businesses that they have to get into. And the last 2, could be hit and miss. Yeah. Yeah. But if I had my time again, the only one I wouldn't do is the one I know I've lost my money. I just backed the wrong horse. The idea was right, but the horse was wrong.
And someone said, David Chappelle said, I'm not very good at math, but I know percentages and averages. I think you got the percentage right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what are you listening to music-wise?
I'm a country music listener.
No.
I am.
You certainly don't give me that vibe.
I'm a complete country music
talk
listener.
to me.
I don't like loud noise.
Yeah.
I like lyrics. I like to hear.
They're always selling hard luck stories.
Yeah, I know.
Slash your wrist music, I call it.
I know. Tell me about it. I'm a big Kenny Rodgers fan.
Okay. He's not too bad.
I'm a big Dolly Parton fan.
Well, Dolly.
Huge
Dolly can do no wrong. She's an amazing songwriter.
Yes, absolutely. And The Coat of Many Colors is my favorite. Favorite of all
So
time.
if I hacked your Spotify list now, it'll be all country.
It's all country.
Ooh, okay. Maybe I won't hack it then.
Yeah.
I leave you to it. And what are you watching on Netflix or DSTV? Apart from Lions Den.
Yeah. So I'm not a big TV watcher.
Okay.
So I do 2 things. I watch news and I watch sports.
Yeah. So where do you get your news?
BBC, Sky News, very little CNN, but Al Jazeera.
Yeah. It's interesting. Before it used to be BBC. I personally feel if I watch BBC, I have to watch Al Jazeera or somewhere else. Because it's so sad that they've lost that balance. They used to be the authoritative voice, but it's so obvious now. They're pushing a narrative.
Yes. No, you're right. So I watch BBC World Service, which is slightly different.
Slightly, but now I think it's now under the Foreign Service.
Yes, and it paints the world in a different way, in its own way. With the British thing. But you have to watch. I watch different channels. I watch Sky News just to know what's going on.
Someone said they're unapologetically British-centered.
Yeah.
They don't look at anything else except from a British perspective.
Well, it's called the British Broadcasting Corporation. So. Sometimes I wish the Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation would do the same
bit more
thing,
like that,
right? Because if we had any issues in Nigeria, it's the perception of Nigerians from the outside, and if we change that, I tell you, we solve 80% of our problems.
Well, the music people are doing that.
They are to an extent.
They're trying.
They're incredibly talented.
And Nollywood, they've tried so much.
So well. Nollywood better than the musicians, by the way. So the musicians are talented and they've done a lot, but they need to be more responsible.
And professional.
Yeah,
they just need more professional.
They need to be a lot more professional, responsible, and show what they can do and respect their audiences and respect
I
people.
heard about Christmas.
We have a lot of shows
Yes,
here, by the way.
yes, I know.
It simply doesn't make sense.
It was not.
It was not a 8 p.m. to watch someone. And the person
But they
doesn't
don't
turn
do
up at
that
3.
abroad, do they? Do they? Do
Sorry?
they do it abroad?
No, of course not. They
Yeah.
couldn't do it abroad. But that's the problem. And I think it's one of the problems we have as a nation is we need to remember that we're all ambassadors of this nation. And whatever we
respect
do,
each other.
Respect each other, yes. Irrespective of where we come from. But yeah.
So what do you watch apart from news?
Apart from news, sports.
Okay. Yeah, Arsenal. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I watch a lot of sports, and there's some. Oh gosh, what do they call them? The programs that follow each other. I used to watch 24. I like it.
Okay, yeah.
I used to watch a Blacklist.
Yeah.
So I watch some of those.
Yeah, but you're more like a news junkie.
I'm more like a news and sports junkie. I have a
low boredom threshold.
Very low boredom threshold. So it's only on planes I can watch those things, right?
Where you're captive.
Well, I'm captive. I'm tied down. There's nothing else I can do, and I don't want to talk to the guy next to me, right? So yeah, I'm not big on the small screen.
And are you going to describe yourself in 3 words?
Resilient.
Okay.
Reliable.
Right.
No regrets.
Unapologetic.
Unapologetic.
Reliable. Resilient. And unapologetic.
Yeah.
I think that's good. And you're giving off this American vibe in that you're not hesitant to tell me. Because usually British educated people are sort of like, I don't really like to describe myself. That sort of like angst-ridden navel-gazing. I don't, it's like I'm giving up. I'm telling you, I'm boasting about myself. No, I like that.
It's all right.
But it's actually quite accurate because you have to be resilient to do what you're doing.
You do.
In the markets you're dealing with.
Absolutely, especially this market. This is the toughest of all the markets, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah, so Nigeria is by far the toughest.
Gosh. But the rewards?
I don't know. People say relative? That. Very relative. In all the markets, the Ghanaian market was our most profitable from a deployment of capital.
Okay, return on capital employed.
Return on capital employed, right? Nairobi market.
MBA.
The Nairobi market was probably the most gratifying in that it was easier. And the Nigerian market, yes, you have the opportunity to do bigger things because it's a big country with a lot of people, but it could be
the sheer aggro.
The aggro could be much bigger if you had more help. I mean, we're just not aligned. If I could change one thing in Nigeria, it would be the public sector and the private sector handshake. And, I say, look, guys, sit down. I remember you're working for each other.
We're on the same side of the fence.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean,
so it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. In doing what we do here,
would you just chill out and ditch the Nigeria end if you were going to do it all over again?
This is my country, right?
Yeah.
And I get so much more here from here. And look, we employ 2,000 people here.
Right. Yes.
And, when I see their faces, it makes
and you're making a difference in their lives and you're giving them skills.
And absolutely. And they're happy. And there's so many hardworking, courageous people.
Nigerians are hardworking.
Very hardworking.
And they're bright. Very, very they're sharp.
And very pure. And very, our average age in this company is probably 24, 25.
Gosh.
So you've got young people who are determined.
Yeah.
So is rewarding.
Yeah.
The 5,000 people that come here, hopefully, if not all of them, most of them leave happy.
Yeah.
That's rewarding as well.
Yeah.
So there's so many rewarding things despite the pains, which is why the things I would change would be the things that create the pains. And leadership is a big thing.
It is.
If we could reorient our leadership, and we have some good leaders here, but they're very few.
Are you voting?
Oh, 100%.
You got your PVC?
Of course.
Are you APC, PD, PL,
PLLM? So I'm not party centric.
Yeah.
I vote for people.
Okay, so who are you voting for?
On the presidential. Yeah. Do I haven't made up my mind yet?
Yeah.
So, but I will. I will. I will vote for change for a start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not APC.
Let me not say not APC yet, but I won't be voting for the same thing. So I
have
to try to understand what these people will bring.
Yeah.
My instinct currently lies with someone that's completely different.
Yeah. Do we have any of that? I don't know if we do.
So we will see over the next...
To a degree,
To a degree. And I think we're in the home run now.
Yeah.
So at some point over the next 3 to 4 weeks, these people are going to have to come out and tell us what their real agenda is.
Yes, if they have one.
If they have one, rather than just shout in stadiums, right? So if they come out and tell us what their real agenda is, now I'll put my vote there.
Yeah.
On a state level, I'd like to see the state progress and get better. I think I think Lagos is probably one of the more progressive states. I think Lagos has had very bad leaders, but so had a few good leaders. I think currently the guy in charge is a good guy. I like him.
He means well.
He means well. I like him. I think there's a lot more he can do with help, but it's a complicated state.
Talk to me about it.
We'll see. I think the civil service here needs to be a lot better. If Lagos is going to grow, it just needs to be better. It needs to be more proactive and stuff.
And more private sector
driven.
Yeah.
We sit here, as I say, we employ 2,000 people. We probably pay, probably a couple of billion naira in taxes every year. And it's just so hard to get normal things done. And we're working, it's almost as if the government is working against us.
And everything is a shakedown. And that is so aggravating. And I said, well, I'm paying you to leave me alone, essentially, because I'm providing my own electricity, my own water, my own security, my own roads.
Yeah,
hey, this is like the mafia.
No,
I'm paying the mafia to leave me be.
Yeah. And not all are bad. And I hate to
I know, but it's just debilitating.
But it's debilitating when you see the bad people.
Yeah.
The bad people, even if they're 20%, they cause you 80% of the problems. And, you just made the big point is, you're your own government. You do all these things. I was taught in business that 1/3 of your business revenue, you regenerate and your business.
Yeah.
1/3 of it, you effectively give to your shareholders and staff and the stakeholders. And the other third you pay to the government. Yeah. Right. Now, the problem with Nigeria is there's a bit missing because you have to provide all the things the government should provide. And then
they still want their bit.
Right? So 2/3 of the business has gone on things that shouldn't. And then you've now got to use that 1/3 to grow the business, to help the people that you've employed.
And you're borrowing at some incredible...
absolutely outrageous rates.
It's soul destroying.
Yes, absolutely.
So you're going to tell me a joke?
These are the tough ones. I'll tell you a story joke.
Okay.
Two quick stories.
Yes, I'm totally up for it.
So one is a
Should I tell you straight up that I might steal one or two?
Oh, please do. So one is
I'm shameless about stealing people's jokes.
One is a personal one, which is funny. It may not be a joke, but it's funny. And then the other is one I read somewhere. I thought that was it resonates with me. Yeah. So I'll start with that one first.
Okay.
So a young boy. Walks into a barber's shop and the barber says to him, he plays this joke on him all the time. Do you want $1 or do you want a quarter? And the boy opts for the quarter. And every time he goes away, he takes a quarter and the barber continues to do it. So one of the barber's friends comes in one day, sits down with the barber and this boy comes in and the barber does the same thing. The boy takes a quarter and the barber says, look, this guy's the dumbest guy on the planet.
You should have asked for $1.
Yeah, he takes a quarter instead of the $1. So the friend goes outside, sees the boy walking out of an ice cream shop with an ice cream in his hand and says to him, why do you always take the quarter rather than the $1? He says, because the minute he takes the $1, the music stops. and I thought it was funny, but I thought it was a life lesson. Right?
Well, it is, isn't it?
Because he was right. So, and I think...
And also short term.
So the moral of the story is think long term. Don't
be strategic.
Be strategic. Don't destroy the things.
Kill the goose that lays the golden egg.
Absolutely. So I like that.
Okay, second joke.
The second one was when I was working in the architectural practice. Yeah. And one day I was going for an interview. Yeah. And I thought to myself, I have to tell my boss, right? And I said, look, I'm going for an interview. I think I'm going to change this architecture thing. And they'd already told me that I should get the job. I was the best candidate. And the guy who owned the company went to London Business School as well. Liked me a lot of stuff, right? Yeah. And then met me. They had virtually headhunted me. I was being called for the interview for just governance reasons. Yeah. So I said to my boss, I'm going, and he said, you know what, you better get that job because you're not going to come back here if you don't get the job. And he laughed. Well, we're good friends and laughed. But I was late. So I drove in a hurry and it was in Crystal Palace. And I remember I get to Crystal Palace and there's no parking space. And I was late for this interview. And the guy pulls out of a parking space and I see the space.
You rush him?
I rush in. But the guy hadn't pulled out.
Oh, God. Coming out to
reverse back in properly. Right? And he says he was going to park. Then I scream at him and, he shouts some obscenities at me. I shout some obscenities back. And I think, I'm going for an interview anyway. I don't have his time, right? So I rush into the interview and sit in the waiting room. And then they call me in. And this is the guy interviewing me. He's right in front of me. Oh, no.
How on earth did you crawl back?
I know. So I didn't. I looked at him in the face and I said, we meet again. And he laughed. And I said, should I just...
He had a sense of humor.
Yeah, he had... Well, I didn't know whether the laugh was pain or not. So, and in those days, I was conscious I was black. I wasn't one of these guys who was walking around thinking I was white. So I knew I had to do twice as much as everybody else. And I'd met a bit of that stereotype at the time. I swore at the guy. I took his parking space. I didn't really care much. I jumped in. I was selfish.
Yeah.
You know? So
Such a cliche.
I know. I felt a bit guilty, and I said, "Look, I wouldn't really want to waste his time if he doesn't think I have the moral fiber to be interviewed.
Put me out of my misery now.
I might as well just walk away, right? And it's okay. We'll just call it a day. It never really happens." And he said, "No, since you're here, you might as well sit down.
Yeah.
We may not give you the job, but we'll see." So, sat down, had a long conversation for the best part of an hour and a half. It all turned out well at the end. I did go and work there, and it was good. It was good fun. And we joked about it. And I worked there for 6 years.
Oh my
and
goodness.
I joked to this guy about, he later became the chief executive of the organization when I became development director. And we joked about this for a long time. We're very good friends.
Well, that's a good news story.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Paul. You're such a star and incredibly humble. I wouldn't be that humble.
No, I didn't.
I don't do humble.
Neither do I.
with a tenth of your accolades out, nobody will be able to talk to me.
No. My dearest wife doesn't
They put you in your...
I think, she doesn't
They
think
keep
I'm
you
humble. She puts me in
humble.
my place all the
They
time.
keep you,
right? But,
they keep you humble.
I wouldn't say I'm humble, but I would like to think I'm normal.
No, really appreciate you giving us your time. If people want to get hold of you, how do they get hold of you?
So I am on almost all the social media platforms.
Okay.
So LinkedIn is a good way to get hold of me.
Just type your name in.
Just type my name in.
Do you answer it yourself or do they?
Well, so I've got 3 major social media platforms,
Okay.
LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram.
Okay.
And I have a lady who reviews all
Okay.
3, but I answer all the Instagram myself.
Okay.
And most of the LinkedIn and most of the Twitter.
Okay.
But
So they
lots of
can reach you that way.
A lot of the creation is done by other people.
Okay. Brilliant. So thank you so much. And join us on Instagram at Banana Island Living.
I certainly will. I
Thank
definitely
you.
will. Thank you very much for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.